Ridge thinks Hope somehow turned Thomas into a psycho. Really? Let's talk about Thomas, shall we? The guy who had a full-on meltdown, was obsessed with Hope, and even had a mannequin of her in his apartment. Remember that? Then he had to leave the country for some mental health treatment. But sure, Hope's the one making people crazy, right? Classic Ridge logic. And seriously, Ridge better watch his back because here comes Bill, ready to swoop in and steal Brooke away like it's the same old playbook. Let's be real, he's a lot better looking anyway. Go get him, Brooke. No mother should ever let a man speak to her daughter like that, especially Ridge, who has the audacity to act like he's the victim. Guess what, Ridge? You messed up big time. Deal with it. They said it couldn't be done, but guess what? Steffi was dethroned. Hope and her guy are now in charge, and Steffi's little reign of terror has taken a serious hit. Sure, she'll be back to stir the pot, but hopefully not anytime soon. Oh, and just in case anyone forgot, Steffi's the one who caused Thomas and Hope's breakup. She's the one who made Hope's life a living hell, and don't get me started on how she's been trying to wipe out every Logan at SC, all while whispering sweet nothings into Ridge's ear. Has he forgotten that already? Because Brooke finally stood up for Hope and told Ridge exactly how it is about Steffi, suddenly Ridge has amnesia. Shocking. By the way, Hope still has legal options. She can absolutely take Steffi to court for workplace harassment. Steffi's always making moves against the Logans, and this LLC doesn't even have Hope's name on it. Classic Steffi. Brooke, instead of trying to reason with Ridge, which we all know is a lost cause, maybe it's time you called up Deacon Sharp. Hope's father is who she really needs right now. Hey, welcome back to Fiction Forge. I'm Samantha here, and I'm so glad you're here. We've got some exciting stuff to explore today, so let's jump right in. The Forresters really need to start acting their age and stop whining so much. Seriously, what a bunch of huffy crybabies. Face it, Carter and Hope are taking over, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So go ahead, kick some stones if you're going to keep behaving like toddlers. As for Steffi, well, she's practically got a Brooks-level reputation at this point, except she's probably slept with more people than Brooke has. How about growing up, Steffi? You're acting like a bully and puffing around like your mom, all high and mighty with your self-entitled attitude. Classic. And Ridge, wow, talk about hypocrisy. He conveniently ignores all the shady power moves he's been pulling for years. But now, he's acting like he's the moral compass of Forrester Creations. The employees are on strike, by the way. Yeah, they've had enough of the Ridge and Steffi show, and Carter and Hope can't even get anyone to listen to them. Nice job, team. Now let's talk about all these people whining about violence because Steffi bumped shoulders with Hope, or because Steffi called someone the B word. Really? Where was all this outrage when Sheila shot Steffi? Or when Brooke called Stephanie a bitch? Please give me a break. You can't pick and choose when to get upset, people. As for Ridge Forrester Sr., I'm actually enjoying his character development. Finally, the writers gave him a backbone, especially when dealing with the Logans and Ms. Hope. Brooke really needs a reality check, and remember that HFTF was thriving under Thomas, Steffi, and Ridge's leadership. Carter even admitted to Zend that he basically stole Forrester Creations from the family, so Brooke's demands for Ridge to admit Steffi was wrong for firing Hope are laughable. Ridge already did that, Brooke. Get with the program. And let's not forget, Steffi didn't know the whole truth about Carter and Hope's little scheme. When will Brooke open her eyes and realize Hope's own role in trying to hijack Forrester? Ridge nailed it when he pointed out how Hope attacked his family. Remember her treatment of Thomas that led to him leaving Lay? Oh, and that little kiss with Finn at Steffi's grandparents' house? Real classy, Hope. Not to mention the whole Carter plot to take over Forrester Creations. Zend, he should probably stand by his family, considering his love for Eric. But hey, what do I know? Now that Carter and Hope have taken over Forrester Creations, will they actually live up to their promises to help the employees? Or is it all just talk to get what they want? Will the workers finally have a voice, or will they continue to be treated like they're invisible? Carter's got that everything's great smile, but don't hold your breath. Once Hope moves on to the next guy, that smile's gonna vanish faster than a Christmas turkey. She was head over heels for Thomas in no time, after all. And let's not forget Ridge, who's been completely brainwashed by Steffi into thinking Hope is somehow trying to sabotage his precious family. All she wants is a little respect in the workplace, but I guess that's too much to ask. Somebody get Deacon on the phone, stat. And can we talk about any guy who feels the need to yell and scream to make his point? Definitely not my idea of a real man. Finally, props to Brooke for finally standing up to Ridge for calling her daughter a poodle. It's about time. Look, I get that soap operas are supposed to have drama, but come on. The B&B writers are pushing some seriously toxic stuff. It's not okay to have a man verbally, mentally, and physically abuse a woman. Yet that's exactly what they've been writing for Ridge and Steffi to do to Hope. It's messed up. Now, Steffi gets to shove Hope around, and Hope isn't even allowed to defend herself. That's bullying, plain and simple. This isn't just bad writing, it's straight up harmful. What do you think, B&B fans? Ridge has always had a knack for being downright cruel. I mean, he once tore into a decent, respectable woman like Amber Moore, and Deacon had to step in and give him a reality check. It's like Ridge can't help himself. Of course, fans have different takes on when things started to go south, how they unfolded, and the lasting impact, but here's my view. This whole mess kicked off with Thomas's return after being fired for personal reasons. He got the boot from the family business, Forrester Creations, in a board vote. Some of those board members were even his own family. And of course, Thomas left without making a scene. No grand drama or retaliation. He went off, got therapy, and, miraculously, didn't show any signs of his old obsession with Hope. Then bam, AFTF replaces him with Zendal and Eric. Two very talented designers, sure, but neither could capture the magic of Thomas. So Steffi, in a move I actually respect, decided to bring Thomas back. Naturally, this caused a meltdown with Brooke, Hope, and Liam, none of whom are Forresters. But you have to admire Steffi's strength and wisdom in the whole thing. She gave Hope an ultimatum. Either shut down her line due to poor sales or bring Thomas back. At first, Liam had Hope's ear, and they decided she wouldn't work with Thomas again. But then, when Hope met with Steffi and Thomas, she did a complete 180. In my opinion, that's where the whole mess began. Hope started working long hours with Thomas, and wouldn't you know it, her line started improving. As her professional life with Thomas took off, her personal life with Liam seemed to falter. And let's be honest, the lines between fantasy and reality got a little blurred. What started as harmless working late turned into an affair with Thomas, the brother of her nemesis and Liam's biggest rival. When the affair ended, and I think both of them were equally at fault here, Hope's resentment towards Steffi grew. Why? Because after Thomas told Steffi about the breakup, she didn't want him slipping back into his old habits. And yes, if I'm being honest, Steffi probably wanted Thomas as far from Hope as possible. So Thomas agreed to leave for Paris. But make no mistake, whether Thomas stayed in LA or went to Paris, he chose not to work with Hope anymore. And honestly, that was the best decision he could have made for himself. And here we are, arguing and taking sides. Ridge, always the charmer, insults Hope, then calls Brooke over, and the three of them, Ridge, Eric, and Brooke, head to Brooke's house where, surprise, surprise, Eric sneaks off to another room to make calls. Go figure. Classic Eric. Steffi isn't a bully. She just doesn't put up with nonsense, especially from anyone who's wronged her or her family. And let's face it, Carter and Hope have stolen Forrester creations for the time being. Steffi, along with everyone else, has every right to be furious. They've earned themselves a serious dose of wrath. I loved what Steffi said to them. Enjoy it, you've just turned an adversary into an enemy. Hope, as usual, looks terrified. Not that it's surprising, she's always weak when facing Steffi. The writers really need to stop pretending like Brooke, Hope, and Carter are so shocked by the hatred they're receiving from the people they've betrayed. Ridge, Eric, and Steffi are giving the perfect responses to this latest betrayal. And let's talk about Ridge. When he goes off on Hope, classic Brooke tries to play the defender. But when Thomas was the so-called villain in the family, Brooke had no problem calling him everything except his name. Steffi's spot on when she says Carter is blind to the mess he's made for Hope. Deep down, all of this is about getting back at Hope, and Carter needs to stop wearing those rose-colored glasses and realize just what kind of man he's become for her. Sure, Steffi, Ridge, and Eric might be knocked down right now, but they're definitely not out. In the end, Carter and Hope will pay dearly for betraying the Forresters. Steffi may have played a part in all of this chaos, but let's be real, she didn't owe Hope the benefit of the doubt. If she just listened to Hope's side of things, instead of letting her personal grudges dictate her actions, maybe it wouldn't have escalated this far. But no sympathy here, they're getting exactly what they deserve. As for the prediction, Carter may have had those papers signed, but he was fired before they were filed, just a day or two before. So those documents could be rendered invalid, considering he wasn't employed as the COO or legal counsel anymore. And with Christine now back on her own time, I bet she'll be brought in to review the LLC and the timing of all the events. After that crossover moment when Hope kissed Finn, she's definitely got a connection to Eric. As a top-tier litigator, Christine will ask all the right questions, and I'm sure she'll uncover a technicality that'll turn everything in the Forresters' favor. The Forrester family certainly knows how to choose who to blame and when, especially when it comes to their own mistakes. It's like they have an unspoken rule to cover up everything, particularly when it comes to serious missteps. And let's not forget, there's a lot of history there. Take Taylor, for example. She almost caused Darla's death in a hit-and-run, and if it hadn't been for Katie, Bill might have been another victim. Ridge, he threw Bill off a balcony and nearly caused serious harm, and then conveniently ignored Emma's death, which was actually tied to Thomas. And Thomas? Well, he's been involved in a lot. Emma's death, threats to others, the kidnapping of Hope and Liam's baby. It's a lot for one family. Then there's Steffi, who's been in her own troubled past. She was involved in Ellie's tragic accident, and there were other dangerous situations with Ivy and Sheila. It's like a recurring cycle in the Forrester world. And let's not forget Stephanie. She had a huge impact on Brooke's life, and not in a positive way. But when it comes to the Logans, it's easy for the Forresters to point fingers. Look at Rick. Somehow, he gets blamed for Phoebe's death, even though Phoebe's actions led to the accident. It's a strange way of placing blame when things go wrong. And the whole DNA debate, it's become a big focus, but it's not about the bloodline. Ridge grew up with Eric, followed in his footsteps, and was there for Hope when she didn't even know who her real father was. Even when Brooke was with Nick, Ridge continued to play the role of Hope's father, just as he did for RJ. He was always clear that Hope wasn't his biological daughter, but he stepped in as a father figure anyway. Now, things have changed, and Ridge seems to be blaming Hope for a lot of things, especially regarding her relationship with Liam. He's been running for responsibility for so long that it's hard to take his words seriously anymore. He had the chance to step in and make a difference a long time ago, but chose not to. It's frustrating to watch, and while the company may return to the Forresters, it's hard to feel much sympathy for them. Eric aside, he seems to be the one person with some sense of balance. As for Taylor, well, if she's happy with Ridge, that's her choice, but it's hard to ignore how things have played out. Ridge Forrester has finally had enough. After Brooke consistently sides with their daughter, Hope, it's safe to say Ridge is on a full-blown warpath. He's ready to take down Carter and Hope, and most importantly, reclaim his family business. It's like a storm has been brewing, and now it's here. The real turning point? Hope, yes, Hope, actually had the audacity to remind Ridge of the once close father-daughter bond they used to share. Imagine that. Fans have been screaming for months about how the writers seem to have forgotten that Ridge and Hope ever had a relationship. So for a split second, it was kind of refreshing to see that history acknowledged, even if only for a moment. But of course, the impact is deeper than just a few nostalgic words. Now Hope is hearing firsthand the fallout from Ridge, the man who used to be her father. It's gotta sting, right? Maybe it'll make her pause and think about the consequences of her actions. Though let's be real, if Ridge sees her as some sort of villain at this point, what does she care? And let's not overlook the real kicker here, the way Ridge lashed out at Hope. No father should ever talk to their child like that. Seriously, the writers have some explaining to do about why they destroyed such a pivotal relationship. Remember when Ridge was her dad? Apparently, that was a long time ago. And honestly, it's a shame how things have gotten worse since the change in actors, with TK and N stepping in. Zenda's reaction was pretty much the same as any sane person's would be. Carter pulls the classic line, "I had to step in and take over your family's business. All for the good of your family's legacy. It's still your family company, just, without your family running it anymore." Zenda didn't even try to hide his disbelief. Honestly, who could blame him? I'm hoping he just walks away from the whole thing. And of course, Hope looked absolutely smug, like she just won some big victory. It's no surprise that Zenda's ticked off. This wasn't just some business deal. It's his family's company, stolen right out from under them. He's a Forrester. It's not up to outsiders like Hope and Carter to decide the future of the company. Their actions weren't just a slap in the face to Steffi. They are jeopardizing the entire Forrester legacy. The company is theirs. Hope and Carter just can't grasp that. They're employees, nothing more. They don't have the same emotional investment in the business, which is why they think they can bulldoze ahead with no consequences. Instead of trying to hijack the Forrester empire, they should have gone off and built their own. When they first suggested Carter take the reins of the LLC, I thought, yeah, the Forresters kind of had it coming. But now, not so much. Sure, Ridge and Steffi are at *** holes, no argument there. But Hope and Carter, they've crossed the line. This isn't their company to run. If they wanted to be in charge, they should have started their own business and crushed it. After all, living well is still the best revenge. Oh, how I miss evil Sheila. What a wasted opportunity for both her character and the storyline. Honestly, they could have done so much more with her. They should have had Sheila pulling a long con, pretending to be the sweet angel while secretly plotting some twisted revenge. Or better yet, imagine Finn and Poppy having a drunken night together and bam, Finn is the dad. Sheila would be Luna's grandma, and suddenly, all her crazy behavior would make perfect sense. They could have also had Sheila trying to break up Finn and Steffi to get Finn and Hope together. Or maybe even having Electra's stalker go to Sheila for advice on how to mess with people. Oh, and let's not forget how Sheila could have still been out for revenge against Bill, helping Luna escape and stirring up all kinds of chaos. There was so much potential there. But hey, Luna and Poppy, at least they're fun, right? They've got range, and they bring some much-needed energy to the show. Remember how they set everything up for Finn to be Luna's dad? It would have totally explained why Lai hated Poppy so much. It was like they had big plans for Finn, and then, poof, those plans just disappeared. Now Finn's basically just Steffi's husband with no personality. At this point, they might as well forget he has a name. The biggest reason not to invest in Hope and Carter. In the last 18 months, Hope has somehow managed to fall in love with Liam, Thomas, Finn, and now Carter. Let's be real here. Hope's emotional maturity is somewhere around the level of a 14-year-old, and she clearly can't tell the difference between lust and actual love. It's like a revolving door of infatuation, each one more short-lived than the last. As for Carter, not long ago he was in love with Katie, Hope's aunt, by the way. But no, it's not a trend. Carter also has absolutely no clue what love is. If a woman looks his way, he'll declare his undying love for her like it's some kind of competition to see who can be the most desperately romantic. It's pathetic, honestly. And while they both insist they're in love with each other, let's not kid ourselves. It's not love. It's a pitiful case of desperation that's been wearing the same tired face for too long. To be fair, Hope never claimed to be in love with Finn. That was more of a sexual fantasy situation. And let's not pretend she was still in love with Liam over the past 18 months. Their relationship was already dead long before it was officially buried. She probably stopped loving him back when he cheated on her with Steffi in 2021. And as for Carter and Thomas, after years of chasing after Liam and watching him bounce back and forth between Steffi and everyone else, it's no wonder Hope has no clue what a healthy relationship even looks like. Carter's track record is just as tragic. He's been in love with Katie, Quinn, Paris, and Zoe, each one in a whirlwind romance that ends as quickly as it starts. Picture Bugs Bunny when he's infatuated. Eyes bugging out, ears flopping, tongue practically on the floor. That's how desperate Carter looks. Why go? He's good-looking, successful, obviously knows what he's doing in the bedroom. But for some reason, he still acts like he's starving for affection. It's a mystery. First off, Ridge calling Brooke like she's some kind of dog. Please, my first move would have been staying put to make sure my daughter was okay. And as for the comments about Hope, I'm not even surprised. He said all that nonsense before. Hope needs to stop letting him get to her. It's not worth the effort. Honestly, he was a tamed version of himself compared to yesterday. Then there was Steffi, who clearly thought she was back in middle school with that pathetic shoulder rub. It was weak, pointless, and did absolutely nothing other than remind everyone what kind of person she really is. At least, the actual grown-ups didn't stoop to that Forrester level, and thank goodness for that. But it is kind of odd that Eric hasn't said a single word about Hope. Even when he was tearing into Carter, he didn't trash Hope. I get the sense there's something going on behind the scenes. Maybe a new twist is coming. Honestly, I was pretty bored for most of it, but Steffi's little shoulder check, completely uncalled for. Just classic Steffi behavior, so wrong and so typical. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.